What's up, everybody? Tendo here, and we're going thrift shopping because that's what we do. We go to the thrift shop, we buy video games and other random junk. Today, we're going to go to a part of town that I've never been to in this series. We're going to go to the northwest part of Phoenix. So we're going to see some stuff you guys have never seen before. So check this out. All right, who is ready for some thrift shopping? I am. I'm super ready to bring home a bunch of video games today. I'm hoping that this first Goodwill doesn't let me down. And back in the days before I had this channel, this was a Goodwill I went to quite often, and it usually didn't let me down. But I'm going to go ahead and spoil it for you. It was a bit of a letdown today. I did buy a couple things, but someone beat me to the punch at this particular Goodwill today and bought all the good stuff. There was next to nothing here. But that's all right. We've got a couple more stops today. But let's go ahead and see what is here. Fable 2. I've already got a copy of that. Pretty much, I can say confidently, I've got a copy of almost everything that's in here. And it's kind of funny to hear myself say that, really, that I have most of these games. But I have built this channel around buying video games as cheap as possible. So that means all these super average games that everyone had, they've been the easiest ones for me to bring home thus far. So I'm going to look through this thing a couple times, and I'm just going to buy the games I don't have. I don't have Deal or No Deal. I don't have a Hannah Montana game that's in there, and I don't have this Glee game. So I'm probably going to end up buying those as long as they're all in good condition. On to the electronics, and right off the bat, it's not looking super great. Just a bunch of stereo equipment, a whole bunch of computer speakers for some reason, and I'm really just not seeing anything. The only thing that caught my eye was this wannabe N64 controller. This is actually a Famiclone. I believe you can play NES games in it. These things pop up all the time, and I've actually bought a few of them in the past, but never gotten one to work because they're just super, super cheap rip-off clone systems. And this thing right here, I have no idea what this is. Maybe comment below if you do know. Some sort of weird portal thing with a controller built into it. Now, on to the toys. I've mentioned this a few times on my channel, but back before I started this channel, I was way more into buying and reselling Nerf guns. And I have very fond memories of finding really rare guns at this Goodwill. So I'm very happy when I come across these Goodwills that I recognize, because it's been a while since I've been to a lot of them, and this one is no exception. But I'm just not seeing a lot video game wise. But that doesn't mean a lot. I'll come back here next week and they'll probably just be full of video games. Now on to the next Goodwill. We're getting even further away from home now, and this is definitely a new Goodwill, because since my Nerf buying days way back in the day, this one has been built since then, because I know the area, and this Goodwill was definitely not there before. And as you can see there right off the bat, there's some great stuff in this lockbox. A big stack of gaming manuals. Very happy to see those. I'm definitely going to have to get an employee to let me look through those and see if there's any of them that I need. There's also a knockoff console there of some sort. It's a wannabe Game Boy, but it's got plugins on it to plug it into a TV. So it's probably some sort of Famicom clone as well. There's a lot of games here in the lockbox. I'm a ton. This is way more video games than I see in the normal Goodwill lockbox. It's really interesting because all around Phoenix here, Goodwills have been transferring their video games from their normal media sections to the lockboxes. It seems like every day that I go to Goodwills, there's a new one that's doing it. And it looks like this one started right off the bat doing it, since it's a newer built Goodwill. I hate that, but you know, if it's because of theft, I understand that they have to do it. But let's get through these gaming manuals and see if there's any of them that I have to have. And actually, so far, I think I'm going to buy all of them except for this sports one. I'm going to buy this bad boy. Mass Effect, definitely. Sonic, 1000% going to buy that. Brother in Arms, Argonauts, going to buy. Sonic, thank you. Godfather, more Sonic, yes. Transformers, Cybertron, and another sports one. I'm going to leave the sports ones behind just to shave off a few bucks. I'd still buy them and collect them, but at this point, all those were $4 a piece. I'm spending a pretty penny on those. Lots of video games in the lockbox. Starting off with the Tiger Woods GameCube game. I definitely want that full GameCube collection, so I'll have to check my checklist to see if I need that one or not. But it's nice to see GameCube games at the Goodwill no matter what they are. There's actually some Xbox One stuff here. Lots of Xbox 360 stuff. The 10th copy of Fable I've seen in the last couple weeks since I bought it. Strange. Guitar Hero, sports games. It's turning out that most of these games don't really have any need to be in the lockbox. They're not really highly sought after games. And this brings up a really interesting point. When it comes to thrifting, it's kind of strange how much your shopping experience can be at the whim of whoever is running said thrift shops. Goodwill, they definitely try to make as much money off of video games as they can, and more so since I've started this, they've actually been changing certain things. When I started doing this, there were no games in the lockbox. Now, as I've said, the fact that they're in the lockbox could kind of be because of people trying to steal them and walk out with discs in their pocket. That's no doubt a thing, but they have also started trying really hard to lock up the really nice games in the lockbox and charge way more for them. I'd never seen a $30 game in a Goodwill until this year. So that's interesting, right? Because then all of a sudden you go to a mom and pop thrift store and there's all the good games for $1 a piece. Those days might soon be over because we're just living in a different world. When I was a much younger man, video games weren't really for everybody, but now we're growing up with a generation that, well, everybody plays video games, and there's nothing wrong with that. The more people that like video games, it's more likely the better video games will get. So I'm not mad about it, but it really is interesting to consider what are these people doing, because it really affects what I'm trying to do here. If they're raising the prices, I'm going to have to find somewhere else to buy video games, because there's no way I'm paying $10 for every PlayStation 2 game. I wouldn't have this channel if that's how much I had to pay for each one of them. And to be honest with you, that's a really big reason why I've started this channel finally, because I feel like time's running out. I'm buying up every single PlayStation 2 game I can right now and trying my hardest to get the bulk of that collection, because I just have this feeling that a few years from now, there might not be any such thing as a cheap PlayStation 2 game. I might be completely wrong about that, but at any rate, that's one of my driving forces behind this channel. It's time to get to it. It's time to get all of these games that are easy to get now, so that later on in the future, when we have a video gaming channel on YouTube, I've got this massive collection to pull from, but also this channel already by that point will be put together with the adventures of me collecting all these video games. But if you've been paying attention, there's some strange things in this thrift store, like this Incredibles phone. I almost bought this for no reason whatsoever. It's actually a telephone, and it's, The Incredibles. It looks like a rotary phone, but it's not. Super interesting. Definitely never seen that before, but this is where the video game stuff should be, and probably the most interesting thing was this Xbox 360 controller. But if you ever looked in the background of my videos, I got about 1,000 of those. I've definitely got about 10 of the white ones at the moment, so no need for those. Some interesting camera gear around. I used to be way more into the old camera stuff, but I just had so much of it laying around not too long ago. I actually just boxed it all up and sold it to a guy on Craigslist for several $100. Just got it cleared out, and I got to quit bringing that stuff home because we need more room for video games. We're taking quite a few home today. There's a bunch of demo discs in here, and there are a huge stack of gaming manuals, which I'm very happy about. But let's move on to the next one. The last stop of the day is a Goodwill that we have nicknamed the Coffee Table Goodwill. And I've never mentioned this on the channel before, but we actually have nicknames for almost all the Goodwills in town, and there's a bunch of them. And the only way that you can keep straight 40 or 50 Goodwills is to nickname them, I find. So we call this one the Coffee Table Goodwill because we bought a coffee table here once. And that's pretty much how our naming scheme goes. We just call it whatever we remember from there most. And sometimes the name changes because we find something there way more memorable. But anyways, right off the bat, 2 Wii's in the lockbox. That's a pretty good start, I guess. I'm not really in the market for Wii's right now. I've got plenty. If you've ever looked behind me in my game room when I shoot these videos, I've got a lot of Wii's. But let's find the video games. Right off the bat, I can tell there's not going to be many because I don't spot them immediately. Usually, there's a whole top shelf or something that's nothing but video games. But since I've actually never been to this Goodwill to shop specifically for video games, I'm not sure. But I do eventually find them right here on the top row. And just as I feared, not too many. There's maybe 20, 25 games there. But here's a Shrek game I do have, but I don't have the player's choice. So I'm probably going to go ahead and buy that. So at least I'm not leaving with nothing. And then here we go. Mummy. I didn't know there were any Mummy video games, though I probably should have known because I'm a big fan of that movie franchise. Well, I haven't seen the Tom Cruise one. I don't know if that's really considered quote-unquote part of that franchise. Has anybody seen it? Comment below. Let me know. But I'm going to buy those 2 games at least. The rest of this looks to be sports, Dance Dance, and Wii Fit. So we're leaving with a couple games, but I'm not mad because, I mean, you saw that last stop in the haul. All those video game manuals. I'm never going to be mad after a haul like that. Now, let's move on. Something strange happened at this Goodwill, okay? There was some other cool stuff to look at. I didn't end up buying anything, but something strange did happen, and I've got to tell you about it. Well, regular TENDO is not going to tell you about it. I'm actually going to bring in Cartoon TENDO to tell you this story. What's up, guys? Cartoon TENDO here, and I just want to tell you that I'm walking through this store, right? And there's somebody looking at me a couple aisles over, and I make eye contact, and do I know this person? What do I do? And I kid you not, he says, "What's up, TENDO?" And I immediately stop, and I stare at this guy for a solid 5 seconds. I don't know what to do. Nobody's ever called me this in public. This is what people call me when I play video games. And I've only played video games with a handful of people, really, in the last year, since people started calling me that. And then I started this YouTube channel, but I only have like 500 subscribers, and nobody's ever called me that in public. And really, TENDO or not, nobody really recognizes me in public unless it's the girls at the Chick-fil-A counter who know that I'm just coming in for my daily milkshake. So how does this guy know who I am? And so I'm like, oh my God, it's actually happening. This is way too soon. I had not actually accounted for the fact that someone was going to actually recognize me in public, but this guy did. So I walk up to him and I say, "Hi, cool. Hey guys, no one's ever actually called me that in public." And he says, "Oh, really?" And he seemed confused. Like, "Okay, is that not who you are?" And I was like, "No, it's who I am. But you're the first person to recognize me in public. This is weird. I don't know what to do." So I actually had to walk away like a crazy person and come back to him later and say, "Hey, sorry if I acted like a crazy person. I'd never actually accounted for the fact that someone was going to recognize me in public." But you did. That's cool. But they were actually really cool people. So shout out to those guys. Nathan and Marilyn were really cool. Thanks for saying hi. You guys made it possible for me to actually be calm the next time someone says, "Hey, TENDO" in public. The next time someone says, "Hey, TENDO" in public, I won't act like a crazy person. All right, tune TENDO out. All right, guys, we're back in the game room, and I'm super stoked. I do have a stack of games. Not a bad haul for one day, but I'm most excited about these. Look at that fat stack of gaming manuals. Over the course of the last couple months making this series, I've definitely brought home some gaming manuals. A specific Zelda manual comes to mind and some other random stuff. But a lot of that stuff is from the Goodwill bins. I don't really find too many gaming manuals at regular Goodwills. But today that changed because that's a big stack. So let's run through everything first. I'll save the gaming manuals for last. I bought this knockoff Game Boy Advance. It's not even a knockoff Game Boy Advance. I think it's a Famicom clone. It doesn't take Famicom cartridges, because look how small that is. But look how close that is to Game Boy Advance size. But of course, they don't go in there. They're just a little bit too big. So, I don't know what originally came with this. This is something cheap on the internet to buy. And you can plug it up to your TV. And I guess it has a proprietary cartridge with which you control NES games. So that's cool. I've got a collection of clones and knockoffs, and that's just going to go in that box. One of these days I would like to display my knockoffs and my clones, but there's not enough room here in the game room for that, not enough shelves. So that's one day down the road when we get a bigger space to do this in. But let's talk about the video games that I got. I got 10 games. We'll start with NASCAR 2000. Always happy to find PlayStation 1 games in the Thrift. This was kind of funny. I bought a lot of this stuff at one specific Goodwill, and I had a gentleman there that worked there helping me get the stuff that I wanted out of the case, and I was like, "Yeah, give me that, I'll take that, I'll take that." And I guess he thought I said I'll take this, because when I got to the cash register where they had all of my stuff waiting for me, this was on top. I was like, "Oh, I didn't ask for that." She's like, "Oh, well, sorry." I was like, "Well, you know what, let me look at it. It's all there. It was just a few bucks." So I bought it. It is SpongeBob the Big One, Beach Party Cook-Off. Now the proud owner of yet but another SpongeBob game. There's a lot of SpongeBob games. Next, Glee Karaoke Revolution. I bought this one at a Goodwill because I was desperate and they didn't have anything else. Kind of same with this. My Fitness Coach. Knocking those goofy Wii titles out. And then next, this is pretty awesome. This would probably be all of your favorite game. Hannah Montana, the movie for the Wii. Best game ever. Serious Face. And then next, I'm super excited about these. Not one, not two, but 3 jam-packed demo discs for the PlayStation 2. And these are some of the older ones. These are some of the ones I definitely don't already have. I found, I think, at least 1 or 2 of these in my last 2 thrift haul videos. So it was super awesome to find more a 3rd day in a row. Very happy about that. I love demo discs. I have a growing collection of them. Can't wait to put these on the shelf with the rest of them. Next, another super awesome game, Shrek 2. Much like SpongeBob, there are so many Shrek games.
What are you doing in my swamp?
I think I already have this one, but I bought it because it's the greatest hits. And, you know, in my wildest dreams, I am going for complete collections of everything, both greatest hits and regular. Wild, I know, but, you know, I'm ambitious, if nothing else. The last game that I got, I'm pretty excited about. Mummy Returns. I am a huge, huge fan of Brendan Fraser. And man, did I love these Mummy movies when I was a kid. I watched them on repeat. I've never played a Mummy video game. Comment below if you have, you know anything about it. I mean, I'm going to play it anyways, but tell me below if you've played these. But I'm very happy to find this. I probably will put this in the PlayStation 2 when I'm done with this video, just to see if it looks any good. But let's move on to this giant stack of gaming manuals. I am an avid collector of gaming manuals, even when they're games that I'm not necessarily going to play, like this one. I'll start with this one. I'll start with this because it's sealed. I've never owned a sealed gaming manual before, but I do now. This is for Brothers in Arms, Hell's Highway. Not a game I'm familiar with at all, but it does look nice in that sealed wrapper. Next, Mass Effect. I've never played this series either. I know it was pretty popular. I've got a couple copies for a couple different systems. Maybe I'll try this one out. Oh, sweet. It's got a big poster in the back. I'm not going to take it out, but it's pretty. Next, I always thought this game looked awesome, but I know nothing about it. Kane and Lynch, Dog Days 2. I've seen the cover of these games a couple times, and they always just look like, I don't know, some sort of weird precursor to Grand Theft Auto 5. Doesn't that look like Trevor, kinda?
I had a tough upbringing. My daddy was not nice to me.
Singularity. Very nice. I like that cover. Got a little Iron Man action on the back, I guess. And then, one of my favorite games, Grand Theft Auto, Episodes from Liberty City. I'm a huge Grand Theft Auto fan, and I've played them just a little bit more than casually. Like, I've played them all the way through and stuff. But I've never had gaming manuals for them, and I've bought several in the last couple months. So I'm thinking next playthrough on some of these Grand Theft Auto games, I'll hit these manuals up. Transformers War for Cybertron. I believe I have this game on the 360. So, I haven't played it either, so maybe I'll also keep this at my side when I try it. I've never been a big user of gaming manuals. About the closest I've come to using a gaming manual, I remember way back in the day. I mean, we're talking 1997. I was 8 years old, playing one of the Zelda games on the Game Boy. I can't remember exactly which one, but it got really hard in the middle, so we had our first computer right around then, and I went and Googled how to get through this level and stuff, and ended up printing out the equivalent of a gaming manual to sit there and read through and beat pretty much to completion that Zelda game. We'll move on to The Godfather strategy guide. It's got a map in it. That's awesome. It's a gridded map. Man, if I ever play this game, I'm going to be really tempted to take that out of there because I love gaming maps. I have actually bought up 2 sets of almost all the Grand Theft Auto games just so I can have a collection of the manuals outside of their cases. Again, no room to hang those up here, but one of these days as the YouTube channel grows and we get our own space, I will have a wall of nothing but Grand Theft Auto maps. You can take that as a promise. I hereby solemnly swear I will one day have a wall full of Grand Theft Auto maps. Rise of the Agronauts. I had to look at that word sideways. Agronauts. My brain wanted to say astronauts. Again, no familiarity with this game. If you know anything about it, let me know. It looks dope. Looks like an older game. All right. Here comes the best part of the day. More Sonic stuff. I've been finding a lot of Sonic stuff the last week. Not 1, not 2, but 3 Sonic gaming manuals. And I'm just now realizing that I've been bamboozled. They're both the same. Well, we've got an extra one now. I'll probably just toss that in the bin and take it for trade-in. But Sonic Chronicles: The Dark Brotherhood. I don't have this game. I have Sonic Unleashed, I think. I'm actually not sure. I'll have to look, but that looks familiar. This does not. The crazy part is that most of these just seem untouched. They don't really have that new manual smell anymore, but they're in great shape. I'm very happy. Oh, this IKEA shelf is missing shelves because I put more of the shelves from it onto the game shelf. So I need to go buy replacement shelves for that and paint them yellow so that I can finally lay out my gaming manual collection, because that's just kind of it sitting there vertically. They're all stacked up. You know, it's funny because I live really close to Arizona State University, and school recently just came back, so I went to buy some more of these shelves at IKEA, and they raised the price from like $60, which is what they usually are, to like $89. I was like, I'm not paying $90 for these shelves. I only paid $30 for these because I got lucky and got them on clearance, but that's also why I only got 3. Had they had more, I'd have enough to fill this room out. There's a lot more wall space just off camera, and one day soon that will be covered up with yellow shelves when I can source them at the thrift store, because your boy's not paying $90 for them. But guys, that's everything that I got. A stack of games, a stack of gaming manuals. Let me know in the comments below, what was your favorite thing? You know what? Scratch that. That's what we usually do. Usually I have you guys tell me what's your favorite thing. Which one of these games, of these gaming manuals, go scrub back through them. Which one do you think I should play the most? If I was going to pick one of these games, which one do I have to play? But guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me. Do me a favor real quick before you go. Run over to my Twitch page and hit that follow button. So when I stream these random-ass video games that I find at the thrift, you can come hang out with me then. But also, guys, here on YouTube, hit that like and subscribe button. And most importantly, hit that bell notification so that in the future, when I post these thrifting videos and come home with all this awesome stuff, you'll get a notification then and you can come back and hang out with me. And until then, guys, peace out.